This is All Things A's with Garrett, and I'm Garrett. Welcome back to another episode of Silver Bullet Filming Locations Then and Now, episode 2. We are at Greenfield Lake, which is right behind me. We're going to cover the kite scene. We're here. We'll be back at Greenfield Lake, and we will do the gazebo. We will do the bridge where it shoots off fireworks, where it encounters the werewolf, that being Marty. We will go to downtown Burgal. We're going to look at, we're going to cover Andy's Sporting Goods store, the location for that. We will cover Owen's bar. We're going to go to the barber shop. We're going to go to the church scene, and there is 2 churches, not just one. They filmed the interior of one church, and then they filmed on the exterior at another location at another church. The cool thing is we get to go inside the church that the interior shots were filmed in. Can't wait to show you this. It's going to be really fun. And it looks like there's going to be one more episode after this. I promised somebody that the next episode would have the cover bridge scene. I think you'll have to wait till episode 3. I told you in the first episode, there's a lot of different locations, and it just so much information, but I want to share it with you guys. And I didn't want you having to watch about 5 or 6 YouTube video commercials just to get through all of it for a 40-minute video. So I'm going to break it up, episode 2, then episode 3. So let's get started right now. Let's go look at the kite scene right here at Greenfield Lake. And I was trying to figure out where the kite scene was and where the gazebo would have been. If this is the location of where they were flying the kites, the gazebo would have been really close by, but there's not a gazebo here anymore in this area. One theory is that this tree right here is the tree that's from the other direction, but it's where Brady was flying his kite, and maybe that tree there is the one that Marty climbs. Miraculously, he's able to jump up to that next. Uses pure arm strength to go up the tree and then get to the limb and climb over. But some of this doesn't add up. I don't know these trees here. It was a much more clear background, and I don't know if it was maybe at an angle that there's a gap right here of stuff. So maybe this is it right here that looks out this direction. But if they did, if this is the location where they flew the kites, then they have moved the gazebo away to another location, so which I think is over by the covered bridge actually, and it does kind of make sense that if it went there. So my theory maybe is this right here, is that it's this tree, and maybe that would have been the limb that came across that he was up against. And I don't know if it would have been from this angle right here, possibility somewhere, and then that tree over here is where we see, because they're a little bit far apart, but maybe this is where Brady was flying his kite with. And we actually got some wind today. One of the funniest parts in this, I think, in the movie right here is that they're flying kites. There's not a hint of wind, and they have to have a string on top of the kite to hold it up and they're showing it up in the air. And I got this off of Reddit, but somebody said that they think that smiley face was a nod to Joe Dante to The Howling. Anytime a smiley face appears, danger is about to begin. And so when Marty takes off and he looks back, Brady back here flying his kite, which was basically just hanging in the tree with a string, but he's flying his kite. You can tell there's a little bit of sadness, almost like something to come. We're in front of what would have been Owen's bar here on Fremont Street in Burgal. This is the exterior for Owen's bar. The interior it's a very narrow store. It would not have worked. The interior was shot in a club on I think 200 Carolina Beach Road North. It has now been torn down. It was a nightclub,
and it was tore down. It was tore down back in May 2008 to build a hotel down there. This was used for the exterior only. One of the notices that you could tell in the movie that how the differences is that this door for the bar opens outward, and the bar that they used in the movie for the interior, the door opens inward. So you kind of tell that there was a difference in the locations. But the bar was called Owen's Bar for a character named Owen Knopfler. Stephen King wrote that. Owen, his son, was named Owen, and Knopfler is for Martin Knopfler, who's one of his favorite musicians, who was in the guitarist for Dire Straits, Money for Nothing. He wrote the musical score for Princess Bride, and he wrote Private Dancer for Tina Turner. So and he's still a working musician now. He's older, and Mark and I shared the same birthday, not the same date, but the same birthday. But this is the exterior. This is where Private Justice.
So the Private Justice scene is one of my favorite scenes because it has Bill Smitrovich in it, who plays Andy Ferriton. And Bill's probably most famously known for being the dad in Life Goes On. But the guy has over like 100 different acting credits, from Independence Day, Iron Man, I mean, all kind of stuff. But he has got some of the best lines in this movie, really funny stuff.
People to go home. I don't remember deputizing a single one of you.
That's right, Joe. And neither one of you has done anything about solving this case.
We'll catch him.
You couldn't catch a cold.
The law has a name for what you people are planning. It's called private justice. And private justice is about a step and a half away from lynch mobs and hang ropes. Now, I may be no J. Edgar Hoover, but I am the law in Tarker's Mills.
Grief-stricken? You don't know what those words mean. My son was torn to pieces. Pieces? Why don't you go out to Harmony Hill, Sheriff Heller, and dig up what's left of my boy Brady?
I think it's pretty cool that Kent Broadhurst mentions Harmony Hill, which was the setting for Salem's Lot. And it also makes me think of Maximum Overdrive, which comes out the next year, where Bill, Emilio Estevez's character, mentions Haven, which is the setting of the Tommyknockers, which that book didn't even come out until the following year after that, which is 1987.
You heard him? Let's go!
Even though it didn't really happen on the inside of this building, they come outside after the whole private justice conversation, and hear the Reverend. He's trying to talk to the sheriff, and the sheriff's telling him, "Hey, this is the community spirit we've been talking about." He's trying to stop. He's trying to stop everybody from leaving. He's trying to stop Andy and here. He's trying to stop people on the side. You can see all the buildings. Stop! This is a bad idea. But this is also inside. Let me make a note that this is where we see the Peacemaker for the very first time inside Owen's bar. Now, it didn't happen obviously in here, but Andy, but Owen, Owen the bartender, had the Peacemaker.
What are you, trying to be smart?
Now you boys better turn down your thermostats, or you can both get the hell out of here. You got me?
Peacemaker. And so I got a Peacemaker shirt. My friend Chris from the Midnight Movie Snack podcast made this. I'll put the link to the website in my video description, and you can, if you're interested in this shirt, it's really cool. You can get your own Peacemaker t-shirt. But this is where it happened. Oh, and there's also a really cool, some cool trivia about the Peacemaker and the actor who plays Owen in the movie. Listen to the podcast. There's a really cool segment on the guy, on the actor. He's got a really great history. That also leads to the next location, which is that I found that no one else has been able to find yet, is Andy's Sporting Goods store. And you can, when in the movie you see the Reverend and the sheriff talking right out here in front of the door, and you see Andy's Sporting Goods store sign hanging right over right here, and it's right here at the China King. So right here you can see this is the angle where Andy puts the sign in the window, and this is right after the sheriff and the mayor has a conversation out at the courthouse, which is right down the street here. So we're really close. So they did.
Mayor.
They used the barber shop. They used the exterior for Owen's bar. They used Andy's sporting goods store just for a brief second right here. But then other shots and stuff are done in Wilmington and Castle Hayne. We're at Greenfield Park. This is where this is featured quite a few times in the movie. This is where at nighttime, this is where Brady's body was found by Sheriff Haller. This is also where the deputy and Brady's dad pull up right here in the parking lot. It was a little different, but this is exactly where they kind of pull up at. This is also private justice is that, and when Andy and the rest of the crew come out here, this is where they all pull up here in this parking lot and head out. And this is the second time that we see the Peacemaker. So this is where Owen, the bartender, brings the Peacemaker out here. This is where in the fog. This is where the scene is, where that happens out here. Alright, so we're at the bridge scene at Greenfield Lake, Silver Bullet, and the Werewolf, Reverend Lowe would have been now the thing here. Marty would be on the bridge. So crazy that he came out here at night when there's a he knows a serial killer. He thinks he's the one that thinks it's a werewolf, and he comes out here at night and shoots off his fireworks. But God bless Corey Haim. Rest in peace, my friend. We miss you. We miss you as Marty. We miss you in acting, and right here at the bridge.
This is for the good guys.
All right, this is for you, Marty, Corey. Let's do one more. All right, here we go. And on a full moon. So I'm back out here at Greenfield Park at the bridge scene. It was fun being out here last night with my son. We had a good time. We shot some fireworks off and commemorating not only Marty from the movie, but Corey Haim. This is his first movie filmed in Wilmington. His second movie was Dream a Little Dream back in '89. Here, take a look at it. This is the gazebo that was used in the film. This would have been moved. This would have been over where the tennis courts are if you're looking at Google Maps. I think it's a genius idea that if somebody moved it, to put it close to the bridge, because they kind of go hand in hand. And I got this. All this needs now is a plaque out here to commemorate the movie and the significance of this area and the bridge and the gazebo. But you can see even the twirly post. You can see that in the movie. The iron rail around. There would have been some benches, I think, on the inside, and obviously a very bad movie prop of a busted up mannequin with movie blood on it that made Daniel Ayotis, I think that's how you say his name, the director, very upset and worried he was not going to be able to do the scene. And luckily, Brady's father did a wonderful job doing and he told him, he says, I think I can give you what you need, and just a great scene. But it's a beautiful day. It's a lot. It's a lot less spookier out here in the daytime than it is at nighttime. So this is the outside, the exterior shot of the church, of where the interior was filmed. The interior was filmed in this church, and it's now closed. It's the Holy Ghost something. I will give it to you, but it's been closed for several years. Now the Anchor Church owns it, and the new pastor let me film inside. You'll see some pictures I'll take, but that we never see the outside of this in the movie. But there is Fangoria magazine. They're feeding some of the extras, the werewolves that are out here right in front of me. This would have been probably some tables here with some food, and this would have been during filming, and this would have been the outside. We did get a shot of the exterior of where they filmed. So this church, they filmed the interior here, and then they went to the United Methodist Church, or Zion United Methodist Church down in Leland, and we'll go there and I'll show you the exterior of what they used in the movie. So this is it from the outside, and we just got to go inside and look. Really cool. This church is now owned by the Anchor Church. The pastor is Philip Christ. Philip was very kind and generous enough to let me go inside and take a look and do a little filming on the inside. We're going to take a look in a second in there. But prior to the Anchor Church, it was owned by Holy Ghost Deliverance Tabernacle of Prayer. Beatrice Smith was the overseer elder. She was known as B.J. Smith. She bought the church in June of 1987 from the Chapel God in Christ's Love Church. That's who owned the church back when it was filmed in 84 here. But she died in January 12th, 2018. I think she was like 96 years old. But the church had been, according to the pastor, the church had been vacant for quite a while. I don't know exactly how long, but it's been quite a few years since the church had been open. And they have just recently started renovating, and they've repainted the church, the walls. And but up until just recently, until they painted, the walls were the same wood panel as it was when it was filmed here. So that's kind of neat that it was still that way. But they're trying to renovate the church, and they're going to partner with another church and have this church open here in the community. They are in need of a new HVAC system. So if anybody can contribute, you can see the link. I'll have the link to the Anchor Church below, and you want to give money to help that purchase that new HVAC system. Keep the church open. I heard the church was almost condemned. So this is pretty cool that they are at least that they're doing not just keeping the church open, but also doing something very valuable to the community. There's a guy named Sawyer Smoak. He showed up about a week before I got there, or before I got here to film, and I got to give him credit for being the first one to take pictures on the inside since all this. But you can check out he's got a cool Instagram page, a lot of then and now pictures of different places, so you can check him out. Also look at my link as well. But this is really cool to go inside. The one thing I want to point out before we get looking at everything is the fact that the very back wall, you can see there's a balcony. There is stained glass windows in the very back. And they obviously, for the movie, then to make this seem even tighter and a little bit more crisp or whatever, they put a fake back wall up in the very back. And so that's kind of cool that you can see the difference. But this is much larger than it looks in the movie, actually. But this is really cool to be here. Now, this is not the exterior shots. The exterior shots were down at the church in the Zion United Methodist Church in Leland, North Carolina, was the exterior. Yeah, yes. And I'll tell you, I'll tell you what I'm telling the people on the, so when churches, I read this on another YouTube comment section, that when churches found out that it was going to be a Stephen King book and that it was about werewolves, a bunch of churches backed out and did not want their church associated or filmed with this. But this would have been the organ, and you would have had the view back from here. We had some shots. And then up on the podium, this is the view from here. And Uncle Red, and he would have been on this side. This is, and the caskets would have been down here. And then this where the Reverend Lowe gives the great, what was it, the Reverend what? Reverend Lowe, Lester Lowe. And he says, if I can offer you one word of
comfort to you, if I could. If there is any word of comfort I can give you, it's just this, that the face of the beast always becomes
known,
and the time of the beast always passes.
Dan, how about if I take the boy home?
Red.
All right, so we're at Tucker's Mill Christian Church. This is actually Mount Zion, or Zion United Methodist Church in Leland, North Carolina, which takes the place of Tucker's Mill Christian Church. And this is actually the first scene we see of the exterior of the church. This is for Brady's funeral, but we're gonna leave and go look at the second montage of the film of Jane looking for the one-eyed killer, and then we're gonna come right back here to Zion United Methodist Church.
He told me something that was clearly unbelievable, and yet somehow I believed most of it. And I understood one thing with total clarity. Marty himself believed it.
So
all.
the second montage starts with Jane walking down 4th Street toward the Thayer house, but before we look at the Thayer house, I want you to notice at the end of the street, there's a little mound at the end of the street. There's a little sapling right there behind her, and I'll circle it. But I want you to see how much this tree has grown, and it's been 36 years, so it's really cool to see how that tree's still there and how massive it is. And then we see Jane walking up to the Thayer house, and I give you more. There's more information about Thayer house in episode 1 during the first montage. But now we'll go look at the barber shop. This is the Ideal Barber Shop. This is the same building used as the barber shop in the movie. That's kind of cool that it's still a barber shop. You never see the outside, the exterior of this building from this angle. You see it from the back side, but from the inside you can tell by the windows how it has the 2 windows up top and the door. That's the only windows that's on the front of the building. You can see that from the inside of the shop that this is the location, but you do see it from the back. All right, this is the back of Ideal Barbershop, the barbershop used in the movie. We see Jane come in this back entrance, this back door is open. She brings her cart, and I think it kind of shows a little bit of this right here. Let me kind of go out like that. I'm back at the Dixie Grill. It seems like I ended back up here, but there's so many things that were filmed here. But she ends up she comes down with her cart and stops here. This is supposed to be Robinson's, I guess grill, whatever. The kids say sometimes they want to go down to Robertson's. They said at the baseball field they're going to go get a milkshake or some ice cream or something, and Marty says he doesn't want to, but this is and when I saw it inside, I was like, it looks so much like the Dixie Grill, but I was like, why would they film downtown Wilmington when there's so many great spots in Burgall where downtown feel? But I'm glad they did, because this is where Hiding Out just showed you, and Raw Deal, and now I can see now. So to me, it looks like that Silver Bullet was the first location filmed here in Wilmington, right here. Come eat there. It's really good. The food's good. Chris and I came back here in May, and Brian Mayberry owns it. The guy's great. Talked to him. He's a wonderful guy. He's got some great stories about the Dixie Grill.
Leaving, Marty?
Down the sidewalk. I'm gonna be down this here.
I'm ready to turn my bottles in.
And he'd be right here on the right-hand side.
Hi, Janie. And how are you?
All right, I guess. Oh, it's just my little brother gets me so mad sometimes.
I think we see it between the third and the fourth.
Little brothers sometimes do
The stained glass window is where
Take
he's
your card
out
on
here
around
doing
to
it.
the garage, and
There's a
then you
tree
tell
here.
us
Tree's
you-
gone. And the garage is right, it was right off the back here. It's not too much separation. And you could, somewhere, and it was facing outward, like the entrance would have been facing toward the camera here, but it would have been about right. There's the edge of the parlor, and been about right here somewhere. The edge would have been maybe where the, here somewhere. Because it does look out. You can see a glimpse of it. And there was this field, the house wasn't there. The field, there was like an old barn or something out this way. But you can see a couple of shots where the graveyard is in the background. And there's been a few more plots added since then, but you can see that there. But yeah, this is and there's a shed over there, but that's not the one. The garage was like I said, right about here where I'm facing, and this is the great line. He startles her. Well, Jane, you're trembling. Would you like to come in the parlor and lie down for a bit? I have some soda, some cold to drink. And she's like, no, I gotta go. He says, I'll drive you. Give your best to your brother, Jane. I will. And off she goes, and you see him, the last bit of him, he's probably standing about right here looking, she's saying that she runs off.
So I hope you've enjoyed episode 2, the film locations for Then and Now for Silver Bullet. Here at the church, since we're here at the church, I figured it'd be a good time to mention a couple discrepancies in the film. This is a good time to talk about it in between doing episode 2 and episode 3. But this is cool here behind me. You'll see this is 2021. This is 1984 when that was filmed. But there's several discrepancies in the film. At the very beginning of the film, we see that it says it's supposed to be 1976. But in the episode 1, when they were at Robertson's, the first montage scene, or right before the montage scene, the guys are reading a newspaper about Milt's murder, and it says on the newspaper, it says 1980. So the very beginning it says 1976, and the newspaper says 1980. Also here at the church, we just saw Jane bringing her bottles to the garage, and there's a Diet Coke can. Diet Coke didn't come out until 1982. Obviously, this makes sense because the movie was filmed in 84, but being a little nitpicky, but somebody didn't do a good job. The Diet Coke can, that got passed through, and no one thought that 36 years later someone's going to be nitpicking this film that much and looking for different clues and different things and locations for the film. So that one probably got slipped over, but the newspaper 1980 from 76 to 1980, somebody messed that up. But to me, I think the biggest one that I saw when I was watching the film is right here. This is where I'm talking about it, is on this side. There's the flowers on the wreaths on the door for the church and everything. Very Christmassy, a lot of red, and that makes a lot of sense because the movie was actually, the filming dates were for like some say September, but basically from October until December of 1984, the movie was filmed. And so this scene was obviously here. This is the end of coming out of church for Brady's funeral, and for this scene. And obviously, this was filmed in December, probably of 1984. And like I said, just the reefs on the outside kind of gives it away. The flowers, all the red stuff, kind of gives it a Christmas flair. And the movie's supposed to end. I think the very final scene is supposed to be Halloween night. I think that's when the werewolf comes in, and we'll get to that in episode 3. But coming up in episode 3, I'm going to finish you the rest of the locations. We will cover the covered bridge scene. That's one that people have been asking about, and I will give you probably the big one. On the missing location would be Mac's Gun Shop. I'm excited about giving you all the locations. We're going to go to the baseball field. We'll cover the rest of the locations. So looking forward to it, and hope you've enjoyed it. Hit like if you do, hit subscribe, hit the notification, and leave me some comments below. I'd love to hear from you, and I hope the next video won't come out quite as long as this one did. But a lot of information, a lot of film locations, and I look forward to talking to you and seeing you on the next episode of All Things 80s with Garrett.